It is the most analyzed video in internet history. 4 minutes of silence that scream louder than any confession. February 1, 2013. The last known sighting. A young woman, wearing a red hoodie, steps into an elevator. She presses a row of buttons. She waits. The doors do not close. Watch her hands. They move in unnatural, fluid waves. Is she swimming? Is she casting a spell? Or is she pleading with someone, or something, standing in the hallway that the camera cannot see? She steps out. She looks right. She looks left. She hides in the corner. She is terrified. And then, she leaves the frame forever. What happened in that hallway? Was she playing a game? Was she having a mental health crisis? Or was she being hunted by the darkness that lives inside the walls of 640 South Main Street? This is not just the story of a missing girl. This is the story of a building that eats people. To understand the tragedy, we must first understand the life that was lost. Elisa Lam was 21 years old. A Canadian student, the daughter of Hong Kong immigrants. She was intelligent, introspective, and deeply active on the internet. Her Tumblr blog, Nouvelle Nouveau, was her diary. It paints a picture of a young woman who was both hopeful and haunted. In January 2013, she embarked on a solo trip, her West Coast tour. She called it her whirlwind adventure. She wrote about the architecture, the people, the freedom. I have arrived in LA and I love it. It is the city of dreams. But beneath the excitement, there was a struggle. Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. Her writing oscillates between mania and despair. She wrote,
I'm so confused. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm going crazy.
She took medication to manage her condition, Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, Effexor. A cocktail designed to keep the chemical tides of her brain in check. When she arrived in Los Angeles on January 26, she was supposed to be safe. She checked into a hostel-style hotel called Stay on Main. She didn't know that Stay on Main was just a rebranding. A fresh coat of paint to hide the rotting history of its true name, the Cecil Hotel. The Cecil Hotel was built in 1924 as a palace for businessmen and Hollywood elite. But the Great Depression shattered that dream. Located near Skid Row, it became a dumping ground for the desperate. By the 1980s, it wasn't just a hotel. It was a sanctuary for monsters. In 1985, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, lived on the top floor. He would spend his nights breaking into homes, raping and murdering innocent people across Los Angeles. Then, he would return to the Cecil. Witnesses say he would walk through the lobby covered in blood. And in the Cecil, nobody asked questions. He would dump his bloody clothes in the dumpsters out back and go to sleep. 6 years later, in 1991, Austrian journalist Jack Unterweger checked in. He was there to write about crime in LA. But he wasn't just writing about it. He was committing it. He used the Cecil as a base to hunt and strangle sex workers, using their own bras to bind them. 2 serial killers. 1 hotel. And that's not counting the suicides. Since its opening, at least 16 people have died at the Cecil. People jumped from windows, landing on pedestrians. Babies were thrown from rooms. The locals have a saying, the Cecil is where you go to die. This is the energy that surrounded Elisa Lam when she checked into room 506. A place where the walls have absorbed decades of pain. Elisa vanished on January 31st. For 2 weeks, the LAPD searched everywhere. They had dogs. They had helicopters. They searched the hotel room by room. But they found nothing. While the police searched, life at the hotel went on. But slowly, the guests began to notice something wrong. It started with the water. Guests complained that the water pressure was incredibly low. Then, they complained about the smell. A strange, sweet, rotting odor. Finally, the taste. Some guests said the water tasted funny. Imagine that. Brushing your teeth. Showering. Drinking coffee made with that water. For 19 days. On the morning of February 19th, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez went up to the roof to check the main water supply tanks. There are 4 1,000-gallon tanks standing on concrete blocks. Lopez climbed the ladder of the main tank. He peered through the open hatch. He expected to find a leak. Or maybe a dead rat. Instead, he saw a red hoodie. Elisa Lam was floating face up in the water. She was naked. Her clothes, the same clothes she wore in the elevator video, were floating beside her. Her body was decomposing. The guests had been drinking the water of a tomb for nearly 3 weeks. The discovery brought relief to her family, but it brought confusion to the investigators. How did she get there? The door to the roof was alarmed. If she had opened it, a siren would have screamed through the hotel. Yet, no alarm sounded that night. Did she use the fire escape? It's possible, but it requires a difficult climb in the dark. And then, the tank itself. To get in, she would have to climb a ladder 10 feet up, lift a heavy metal lid while balancing on the edge, jump in, and then, here is the impossible part, close the lid behind her. When Lopez found her, the lid was closed. Inside the tank, there was no handle. The water level was lower than the opening. Once inside, it was a smooth, slippery trap. There was no way out. The autopsy deepened the mystery. There was no evidence of foul play. No bruising. No signs of struggle. No sexual assault. Toxicology? Clean. No cocaine, no hallucinogens. Just trace amounts of her prescription medication. But, crucially, the levels suggested she might have been under-medicating, taking less than she needed. The medical examiner ruled it an accidental drowning with bipolar disorder as a significant factor. But the internet refused to accept that. If this were fiction, critics would say the plot is too contrived. In 2005, Hollywood released a horror movie called Dark Water. The plot: a mother and daughter move into a dilapidated apartment building. The elevator malfunctions. Dark water drips from the ceiling. In the end, the daughter goes to the roof, and falls into the building's water tank. The name of the daughter in the movie? Cecilia. The name of the hotel? The Cecil. And the coincidences get stranger. While the police were searching for Elisa, a deadly outbreak of tuberculosis broke out in Skid Row, surrounding the hotel. The name of the specific screening test used to identify tuberculosis in that area? The Elisa test. Elisa Lam. Lam Elisa. It is a meaningless coincidence, but a chilling one. Then, There is the elevator game, an urban legend from Korea. The game claims that if you press the elevator buttons in a specific sequence, you can travel to another dimension. In the video, Elisa is seen pressing multiple buttons. Was she trying to play the game? And did the elevator take her somewhere she wasn't supposed to go? The case of Elisa Lam remains officially closed. Accidental drowning. A tragic story of a young woman whose mind betrayed her, leading her to a place where confusion turned fatal. Paradoxical undressing, a phenomenon where hypothermia victims remove their clothes, could explain the nudity. But logic cannot explain the dread we feel when we watch that video. The Cecil Hotel has since been sold. It is being renovated. They are trying to erase the past. But some stains are too deep to scrub away. Elisa Lam went to Los Angeles looking for the City of Angels. Instead, she found a building that has been collecting demons for 100 years. And one has to wonder, when the renovation is done, and the new guests check in, will the elevator doors still refuse to close? This is Dormant Files. If you've ever stayed at the Cecil, or have a theory about the tank lid, tell us in the comments. Sleep well.